Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're diving deep into Hollywood today, breaking down the 2025 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster for the industry, especially with those devastating wildfires in LA.
Yeah, it's been a tough year.
But the show must go on, as they say. And wow, do we have a show to talk about?
We do. It's certainly a year of contrasts between the,
Yeah.
the somber backdrop and the audacity of some of these nominations. It's a snapshot of where cinema stands today.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. And we have to start with the elephant, or should I say the fiercely fabulous elephant in the room,
Oh, like that.
Amelia Perez. 13 nominations. This Netflix narco musical exploring trans identity against the backdrop of the drug trade. It's unlike anything we've seen before.
It really is groundbreaking.
It's even surpassed Roma's record for most nominations for a non-English language film.
It's incredible. What's so remarkable is how it feels both groundbreaking and like a natural evolution of where cinema is heading. The Academy's been embracing international films more and more, but Amelia Perez takes it a step further. It's not just crossing borders geographically, it's blending genres in a way that feels both familiar and utterly unique.
It's like Moulin Rouge meets Narcos, with a dash of Paris is Burning thrown in for good measure.
I love that comparison. You hit the nail on the head.
It's got everyone talking.
Yeah.
Is this the year Netflix finally breaks their Best Picture curse? Is this the film that redefines what a musical can be?
It certainly has the potential. And we can't forget the historical significance of Carla Sofia Gascon's nomination for Best Actress. As the first openly trans actor nominated for an Oscar, it's a watershed moment for representation in the industry.
Absolutely. And speaking of groundbreaking, Wicked has landed 10 nominations, proving that the magic of musicals is still very much alive and kicking. It feels like such a shift from last year's focus on the gravitas of Oppenheimer.
It's interesting, isn't it, how these trends come and go? Last year we were captivated by history and science. This year it's spectacle, emotion, the power of music.
Yeah, it's almost like Hollywood is mirroring our need for escapism after such a turbulent year, and Wicked is delivering on that front, bringing a beloved story to life with such visual grandeur.
It's tapping into that cultural nostalgia, too. We've seen this resurgence of musicals everywhere, from Hamilton to The Greatest Showman to that West Side Story remake. There's a yearning for that shared experience, that emotional catharsis that musicals offer.
It's like comfort food for the soul, but with some serious production value and killer vocals. But before we get lost in the music and dancing, we have to acknowledge The Brutalist, also snagging 10 nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director. This post-war epic shot in VistaVision is a visual feast for cinephiles.
Absolutely. The Brutalist is intriguing because it's a period piece that feels so relevant to today. It explores themes of displacement, resilience, the search for identity in a world shattered by conflict. And the VistaVision adds another layer to that, using a format known for its epic scope to highlight the intimacy of personal struggles against societal upheaval.
It's like they're saying we've been here before. Faced hardship, rebuilt, found beauty amidst the ruins. And with Adrian Brody, Guy Pearce, and Felicity Jones, the performances are going to be powerful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The film has generated so much buzz, not just for the technical aspects, but for its exploration of these timeless themes. The fact that it's gotten nominations across several categories, cinematography, costume design, suggests that the Academy is recognizing its overall artistic achievement.
It's a good reminder that the Oscars are more than just those big awards like Best Picture and Best Actor. It's about recognizing the craft in every aspect of filmmaking.
Exactly.
And speaking of craft, let's talk about some of the other contenders for Best Picture. We've got Anora, Conclave, a complete unknown. Quite a diverse mix.
Anora is particularly interesting because it's a smaller independent film that's managed to get 6 nominations, including Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. That's not easy in a year dominated by big productions and big names. It really says something about the power of smaller, character-driven stories.
It's like the David and Goliath story of the Oscars.
I like that analogy.
Maybe this is the year David takes home the golden statue. Before we dive deeper into the Best Picture race, we wanted to remind you to hit that like button and subscribe to the Deep Dive.
Yes, please do.
We've got so much more to unpack, from surprise nominations to snubs that have everyone talking, so stay tuned. Now back to the Oscars. Let's delve into Conclave next. This papal thriller, directed by Edward Berger, the mind behind All Quiet on the Western Front, has earned 8 nominations, including Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay.
It's going to be a powerful one for sure.
Okay, All Quiet on the Western Front was a masterpiece, so I have high hopes for this one.
Aww.
What's it about?
It's a fictionalized account of what happens after a pope dies, focusing on the conclave of cardinals who gathered to elect his successor. exploring the inner workings of the Vatican, the power dynamics, the personal struggles of these men grappling with their faith and ambition.
It sounds intense. Sort of like House of Cards, but with rosaries and papal pronouncements instead of political maneuvering.
Haha, good one. And who's starring in this one?
I was just going to ask that.
Well, it boasts an ensemble cast, including Jonathan Pryce, Anthony Hopkins, and Ralph Fiennes. Just imagine those three heavyweights sharing the screen. The acting alone is worth watching.
Oh, I'm adding it to my watch list right now. And what about A Complete Unknown? That's the one with Timothy Chalamet, right? He's everywhere these days.
He does have a knack for choosing interesting projects. In A Complete Unknown, he stars alongside Joaquin Phoenix in a film directed by James Mangold, the talent behind Ford v. Ferrari, and Logan. It's a biographical drama about the musician Bob Dylan.
So we've got a narco musical, a post-war epic, a papal thriller, and now a Bob Dylan biopic. This year's Best Picture race is all over the map, in the best way possible.
It really showcases the range and diversity of stories being told on screen today. It's come a long way from when the Oscars were dominated by historical dramas and romances.
It really has. And speaking of diversity, let's move on to some of the more unexpected nominations that have people buzzing.
Oh, yeah, those are always fun to discuss.
Because while we love those big contenders, it's those under-the-radar films that often bring the most excitement and surprise. So let's dig into some of those unexpected nominations that caught our attention. One that stood out for me was I'm Still Here, this powerful Brazilian film about political resistance during the military dictatorship. I hadn't heard much about it before the nominations, but it's definitely piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, I'm Still Here is a great example of how the Oscars can shine a light on films that might otherwise slip under the radar. It's not just a historical drama, it's a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and resist even in the face of unimaginable oppression. And the fact that it landed a Best Actress nomination for Fernanda Torres says a lot about the power of her performance.
It really does. It's a reminder that the most impactful stories can come from places and voices we least expect. And speaking of unexpected, Nickel Boys really took me by surprise. This film, told entirely from a first-person perspective, explores the lives of young black men trapped in a brutal reform school system. It's a tough watch, but an absolutely essential one.
Nickel Boys is a masterclass in innovative filmmaking. The choice to shoot in first-person POV puts the viewer right into the shoes of these young men, forcing us to confront the realities of systemic racism and the dehumanizing effects of institutional violence. It's not just a film, it's an experience.
It's definitely not a film you just passively watch. It stays with you long after the credits roll. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have The Apprentice, starring Sebastian Stan, as you guessed it, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
This is one that's got everyone talking, for better or for worse.
Oh yeah, this one is generating a lot of buzz. It's a bold choice to tackle such a polarizing figure, especially in the current political climate. But the film's nominations for both Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong for their performances suggest that the Academy is recognizing the artistry, even if the subject matter is controversial.
It's like they're saying, we're not going to shy away from difficult conversations, even if it makes some people uncomfortable. And let's be honest, anything involving Donald Trump is bound to get some strong reactions.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the film walks that line between portraying Trump authentically and potentially glorifying or demonizing him.
It's a tightrope walk for sure. But hey, isn't that what great art does? It challenges us, provokes us, forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. Now, before we jump into the world of international cinema, we wanted to give a shout out to all our amazing listeners. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Oscars, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the deep dive for more insightful conversations. Your support means the world to us. Okay, back to the Oscars. Let's talk about Best International Feature Film. This category always feels like a treasure trove of hidden gems.
It's a chance to expand our cinematic horizons, experience stories from cultures and perspectives outside our own. This year's nominees are no exception. We have I'm Still Here, which we've already discussed, along with The Girl with the Needle, a haunting Polish drama about a young woman struggling to find her place in a world that feels increasingly hostile.
The Girl with the Needle sounds really intriguing. What else is in the running?
We also have The Seed of the Sacred Fig, a visually stunning Senegalese film that explores themes of tradition, spirituality, and the clash between modernity and ancient ways of life.
It's amazing how film can transport us to different corners of the world, introducing us to cultures and stories we might never otherwise encounter.
Exactly. And then there's Flow, an animated film from Japan that's been getting a lot of buzz. It's a testament to the power of animation to tell compelling stories regardless of language.
I've always been fascinated by how animation can transcend cultural boundaries. It's a universal language.
Hmm.
And speaking of transcending boundaries, it's interesting to see Emilia Perez nominated in this category as well. Even though it's a French production, its heart and soul are deeply rooted in Latin America.
It's a good reminder that these categories aren't always so clear-cut, and that's part of what makes award season so interesting. Now let's shift gears and talk about documentary filmmaking. This year's Best Documentary Feature nominees offer a really diverse range of subjects and perspectives. We have Black Box Diaries, a fascinating look into the world of artificial intelligence and its impact on our lives. It's a timely and thought-provoking film that raises important questions about the future of technology and humanity.
Black Box Diaries is definitely on my list. What other documentaries stood out to you?
No Other Land is a powerful and heartbreaking film. It explores the Israeli-Palestinian conflict from the perspective of a Palestinian family living in a village threatened with demolition. It humanizes a complex and often misunderstood conflict, forcing viewers to confront the realities of displacement and the struggle for survival.
These films are so important for bringing attention to these critical issues. What else is nominated?
Porcelain War dives deep into the history of porcelain production, uncovering the intricate artistry and cultural significance behind this seemingly mundane object. It's a film that celebrates craftsmanship tradition and the enduring power of beauty. And then there's Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, a unique documentary that tells the story of a political upheaval through music. It's a reminder of the power of art to reflect and shape history.
That's a really creative approach to documentary storytelling. And what about the final nominee?
The last, but certainly not least nominee, is Sugarcane, an investigative documentary that exposes the sugar industry's impact on global health. It's a film that challenges us to think critically about our food choices and the consequences of corporate greed.
It's amazing how documentaries can be both entertaining and eye-opening, making us think about the world in new ways.
They're powerful tools for raising awareness, sparking conversations, and driving social change. And that's why this category is so important. It's about recognizing films that have the potential to make a real difference in the world.
Well said. Now, before we move on to the technical categories, let's acknowledge the incredible talent behind the scenes. The artistry behind the camera is just as crucial as the performances in front of it. So let's talk about Best Cinematography. We have some true visionaries nominated this year.
Oh, absolutely. This category is always a visual treat, and this year is no exception. We have Lol Crawley nominated for his work on The Brutalist, capturing that stark beauty of post-war Europe.
Yeah, his use of light and shadow in that film is incredible. It's like each frame is a painting.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then there's Greg Fraser nominated for Dune, Part 2. I mean, come on, those visuals were stunning.
I know, right? I still can't get over those vast desert landscapes and the sheer scale of it all. I felt like I was transported to another world.
Yeah, Fraser's ability to create such immersive and awe-inspiring imagery is truly remarkable. And we can't forget Paul Guillaume's nomination for Emilia Perez. His camera work perfectly captures the film's energy and rhythm. It's so vibrant and dynamic.
It's like the camera's dancing along with the music.
Yeah.
And then we have two legendary cinematographers nominated, Ed Lachman for Maria and Jaron Blaschke for Nosferatu.
Legends for sure. Lachman is a master of light and shadow, known for his work on films like Carol and Far From Heaven. His nomination for Maria, a biopic about Maria Callas, shows his enduring talent.
And Blaschke, who brought us those haunting visuals in The Lighthouse, is back with Nosferatu. It's like he's pulling images straight from our nightmares.
Haha, yeah, he's got a knack for that. Each of these nominees brings a unique style and vision to their craft. It really reflects the diversity of the films in this category.
It's a reminder that cinematography is more than just pointing a camera and shooting. It's about creating a visual language that tells the story and makes us feel something.
Exactly. Speaking of making us feel something, let's move on to Best Original Song. This is always a fun one. This year we have 2 nominations from Emilia Perez, El Mal, and Mi Camino. They really showcase that unique blend of musical styles in the film.
I love those songs. They've been stuck in my head for days.
Me too. They perfectly capture the film's spirit of rebellion and resilience. We also have The Journey from the 6888, which is about an all-black female battalion during World War II. Then there's Like a Bird from Sing Sing and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late.
It's a shame that none of the original song nominees will be performed at the ceremony this year because of the scaled-back format.
Yeah, it's definitely a departure from tradition, but understandable given the circumstances. You know, the Academy is trying to find that balance between celebrating these films and being sensitive to what's happened in Los Angeles with the wildfires.
Yeah, it must be a tough decision to make, but I think they're doing the best they can.
I agree. It's a sensitive situation, and there's no easy answer.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your thoughts on this year's Oscar race? Any early predictions for who might take home the big awards?
Well, the race for Best Picture is really interesting this year. Emilia Perez, with its record-breaking nominations and cultural impact, is definitely the frontrunner. But The Brutalist, with its visuals and its timely themes, could also be a strong contender.
Don't forget about Wicked. It's got that spectacle and that crowd-pleasing appeal that could make it a winner.
True, and Conclave has the potential to sweep the acting categories.
It really is anyone's game this year, and that's what makes it so exciting.
It is exciting, but at the end of the day, the Oscars are more than just about who wins and loses. They're about celebrating filmmaking, recognizing the hard work of all those people who come together to create something magical.
It's a reminder that movies have that power to take us to other worlds, to make us laugh and cry, to challenge our perspectives and help us understand the human experience better.
Exactly. And in a year that's been full of both triumph and tragedy, the Oscars offer a bit of hope, a reminder that storytelling can connect us, inspire us, and remind us of the beauty that exists even in dark times.
That's beautifully said. And we can't ignore the impact of those LA wildfires on this award season. The devastation is still so fresh in everyone's minds.
It is. It's a reminder of how fragile life is and how important community is. The Academy's decision to go ahead with the ceremony, even in a smaller way, speaks to the industry's resilience and its desire to celebrate and find joy amidst adversity.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the ceremony addresses the fires and acknowledges those affected.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be some heartfelt speeches and gestures of support.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. The Oscars have always been a platform for artists to use their voices to speak out on important issues and to advocate for change.
And in a time when the world feels so divided, it's more important than ever to come together and celebrate the things that unite us, like our shared love of movies.
Absolutely. The Oscars remind us that no matter who we are or what we believe, we can all be moved by a great story, a beautiful image, a song that touches our souls.
So as we close out this deep dive into the 2025 Oscar nominations, what's the one thing you want our listeners to think about as they watch the Oscars unfold?
I would encourage everyone to watch with a sense of curiosity and an open mind. Don't just focus on who wins, but think about the stories behind the films, the artistry, the messages they're trying to convey.
Don't be afraid to watch films outside of your comfort zone. You might be surprised by what you find.
And most importantly, enjoy the show. The Oscars are a celebration of cinematic excellence and a testament to the power of storytelling. So let's raise a glass to the magic of movies.
Cheers to that. And a big thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the 2025 Oscar nominations. We've had a blast dissecting the nominees, analyzing the trends, and sharing our predictions.
It's been a pleasure.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more insights and analysis of pop culture. We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, happy watching.